A happy ending in the 11-day search for a missing camper in Wolfe County. Hear from the person who found him safe.
A deadly crash between a tractor trailer and a car shut down a Garrett County road for hours. What we've learned about the investigation.
Some quick detective work on the part of one Lexington citizen reunited a woman with her stolen minivan.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good evening. It is making national news. Within the last hour, a federal judge has ordered the Rowan County clerk to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples.
The ACLU had sued Kim Davis on behalf of 4 Rowan County couples after she stopped issuing all marriage licenses. Jennifer Palumbo is at the live desk with the breaking details. Jennifer, a lot of information to get through.
It is, Amber, and this all started in late June when the U.S. Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage in all 50 states. Governor Steve Beshear immediately ordered all clerks to issue marriage licenses. Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis was one of 3 elected officials in Kentucky who defied the order and stopped issuing marriage licenses to all couples. She said issuing a marriage license to a gay couple would violate her Christian beliefs and argued the U.S. Constitution protected her religious freedom. Then, a few weeks later, the ACLU sued Davis on behalf of 2 gay couples and 2 straight couples. Davis turned them away, and they asked a federal judge to order her to issue marriage licenses. U.S. District Judge David Bunning issued an injunction today that forces Davis to perform her assigned duties while the case is in court. In the ruling, Judge Bunning said Davis is free to believe that marriage is a union between one man and one woman, as many Americans do. However, her religious convictions cannot excuse her from performing the duties that she took an oath to perform as Rowan County clerk. He said the couples should not be forced to travel to another county to get a marriage license. At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
Jennifer, thank you. He disappeared 11 days ago after camping with his family in the Red River Gorge, but tonight a Central Kentucky man has been found safe.
Search crews say that someone driving along Wolfe County Road saw Josh Atkins walking this morning, and they say Atkins told them he went much of the last 11 days without food. Sam Smith talked to the man who found him. It's our top story at 6.
Josh Atkins was spotted along Old Highway 15 in Wolfe County. The man that found him wasn't sure it was him at first. Ronnie Halsley went back to his nearby shop, Halsley Meat Processing, grabbed his son and Atkins's missing person poster and went back out there.
I said, "You wouldn't happen to be Josh Atkins, would you?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "That's me." I said, "Well," I said, "You've got a lot of people looking for you."
Atkins was driven back to the shop where they called 911 and his family. First responders checked him out, and besides a high heart rate, he said he feels great after those 11 days lost in the woods.
We was at the right place at the right time and found him before, he went back in the woods and maybe got lost again.
After the emotional reunion here, Atkins is now back home with family where he can relax and they can spend as much time with him as possible. The 31-year-old says the only things he had to eat were corn and apples, and he only ate yesterday and today. He says he went the rest of the time without food. I talked with his aunt over the phone. She says the whole family is relieved their loved one is home.
I just can't explain it. It is an awesome. It's been 11 days, and we just to find him and for him to be so healthy and to look as good as he does, and, it's a miracle.
In Wolfe County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
And search crews hope to talk to Atkins about how he survived for 11 days on his own. They say that information could help them during future searches.
A sinkhole has forced state road crews to shut down an intersection in downtown Frankfort. The sinkhole opened up this afternoon at the intersection of Shelby Street and 4th Street, not far from Frankfort High School. Investigators say the hole is 2 feet by 2 feet, but it's actually much larger underneath the pavement. The intersection will be closed for at least 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, buses headed to Frankfort High School will drop off students behind the building because of that sinkhole. Tonight, we are learning more about a deadly crash that shut down a busy Central Kentucky road for hours. State police say a tractor trailer hit a car on US 27 in Garrett County, north of Lancaster. They say the car ended up being dragged and the driver was killed. Phil Pendleton is tracking the investigation tonight.
A white sheet draped beneath the trailer of a semi, concealing where a silver SUV had collided with the truck.
The passenger car is still underneath the trailer. One person has been pronounced deceased at the scene.
Police say that's a woman who was driving the SUV, and witnesses say she ran a red light before hitting the side of the truck. That vehicle was then dragged at least 100 yards before stopping. Two others in the silver SUV were hurt, one airlifted out and one taken by ground ambulance. Both were taken to UK.
I haven't received any information on how bad they are. I believe the person that was flown, may have had life-threatening injuries.
Southbound lanes of US 27 were shut down for hours as police reconstructed the scene, try to figure out how and why the crash happened.
And then just try to piece everything together as far as, what has actually been going on in their lives even prior to this collision taking place.
Truck driver wasn't hurt, but police say he was taken to the hospital for a blood test, which is standard in crashes like this. In Garrett County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The coroner tells us he is still in the process of trying to notify relatives of the person killed in the crash.
Tonight, the search continues for a man wanted for killing a Clay County man last month. Police say they're looking for Roscoe Hinson of Manchester. He's charged with murder for the death of Trevor Dykes. Last night, police arrested Thomas Miracle and charged him with solicitation to commit murder. Police call this a murder for hire case. They say that Miracle paid Hinson to kill Dykes over a custody battle. Police say that Miracle wanted to make sure his girlfriend would not lose custody of her child. They say that Dykes was shot to death July 27th outside his home.
The case received national attention. Police say more than $100,000 worth of bourbon was stolen from two central Kentucky distilleries as part of an organized crime ring. And months later, investigators say they're still finding some of the stolen bourbon. But as Victor Puente tells us, the attorneys for the people charged in the case want some of the evidence to stay sealed.
Today's hearing was about the evidence in this case and who should have access to it. It comes as the sheriff's office finds more barrels and bottles of that stolen bourbon. An attorney for the Courier-Journal argued today that evidence from the case should be a matter of public record and therefore accessible by the media.
As a matter of law, it is not sealed. It is simply being, that designation of being sealed by the parties is being respected by the clerk's office.
But the attorney for the man police have called the ringleader of the theft argued that Gilbert Kurtzinger and the others charged in the case couldn't get a fair trial if that evidence was released.
While the media and public have a right to access to the judicial process and judicial documents, a defendant's right to a fair trial outweighs that right in this incident.
Kurtzinger, his wife Julie, and 8 others were charged with engaging in organized crime. 4 of those people have already pleaded guilty to reduced charges and have agreed to act as witnesses. Police say they continue to uncover barrels of that bourbon and bottles of expensive Pappy Van Winkle.
This is very much an active case. It's still ongoing, and we're getting more information on a weekly basis as this case progresses.
The sheriff says people who bought those barrels have been cooperative with the investigation. So far, they're up to 22 barrels and almost 30 bottles of Pappy. Judge Thomas Wingate told the attorneys he would release his decision tomorrow. Lawyers for the defense said if he decides to unseal that evidence, it will be available almost immediately. In Franklin County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
The sheriff has said all of the bourbon not in sealed containers will be destroyed.
It is the middle of August, but the weather feels more like early fall tonight. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is soaking up this cooler weather. He has an early look at the forecast. Chris?
Oh, of course, I'm going to take all the credit on a day like this, if it were only that easy, right? Beautiful conditions outside for those of us who are cooped up right now. This is what we are missing. Look at the sky on top of Hamburg Pavilion, Lexington, just across the road from the station on Winchester Road. Clouds are beginning to dissipate right on cue, and as that sun gets lower and lower on the horizon, you'll notice the sun going away. Upper 70s showing up across most of central and eastern Kentucky. Low humidities out there as well, and nothing that is on Live First Alert Defender. That spells for a great evening here across the entire region. Let's check out some of the other cams. We know it's sunny in Lexington. Richmond, mainly sunshiny skies. Few little cotton ball clouds. Georgetown over to Frankfort, but overall things are in pretty good shape. Cool evening out there. As soon as the sun sets, temperatures will drop quickly through the 70s into the 60s. So the September preview with nice temperatures will roll on for a few more days. Then we start to track at least the return of a storm threat or two, guys, into the 7-day forecast here in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chris. She thought it didn't belong there, and a Lexington woman's suspicions paid off.
She noticed a minivan parked outside her home that she hadn't seen before, and it turns out police say the van had been stolen. New at 6, Sean Moody talks to the owner of that vehicle.
And Nicole Kelly said she was pretty upset this morning when she walked outside here to find her minivan gone. She called police to report it stolen, but she says it was the detective work of another citizen that really cracked the case.
Nicole said she was heading outside around 6:45 this morning when she discovered her van had been stolen. Police said someone rummaged through several cars in the area in Kenwood.
And it made me completely sick because you don't know if insurance is going to cover things. You don't know if you're going to get your car back.
She went ahead and filed a police report and got a ride to work, but just across town, someone else was putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Nicole says a woman who was out for a walk noticed a couple of checks and a receipt underneath the truck along Belmont Avenue. The checks were made out to Nicole, and the receipt had her phone number on it. She called Nicole and told her where to find them. Nicole said she didn't expect to find much.
I really just thought I might find some of my stuff in the trash or more stuff on the ground. We pulled up to where she had found the checks. My car was sitting there on the complete other side of town, and I'm so grateful.
Nicole says she's planning to try and repay that woman as soon as she can.
I'm so grateful. As soon as payday happens Friday, she's getting something big. I'm going to have to.
And Nicole says she's not sure how the thieves got her van. She says all the keys that she's aware of were inside their home. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Nicole said she is still missing an engagement ring that belonged to her boyfriend's grandmother that was inside the van. She's hoping it will turn up in a pawn shop. New tonight, more help is on the way for people whose homes were damaged during last month's flash flooding.
President Obama has signed a disaster declaration making federal money available now for Johnson, Rowan, Carter, and Trimble counties. The money includes grants for home repairs and temporary housing. It also includes loans for businesses and people to help pay for uninsured expenses.
A new school year began today for thousands of students around central Kentucky, including those in Fayette County. And new Fayette County Superintendent Manny Calk spent the first day of school making stops at 6 schools. He met with leadership teams and visited classrooms, and he began the day by riding the school bus with some students.
A child's first learning environment is the school bus. And so the school bus experience is so important. And what I want to do is be able to ride the bus and see it from a student's perspective and have interact with our elementary students.
We also talked with some students who had a chance to meet Calk. One of them said meeting him made her day today.